respected Swami Shantatmanaji, my brother monks and brahmacharis, devotees and friends. I am extremely happy to be here in this evening with you, and especially to talk something about the Vedanta in South America with a special focus on Brazil. Straight away going to the subject, I have to take you back to the years in 1930s, perhaps just after the Parliament of Religions in 1893. There must have been a great interest all over the world, especially in South America. That is what I wanted to share with you. We don't know how it went, because whether there must have been some representative or not, we don't know. But there had been an interest, deep interest in South American countries about Oriental thoughts, Oriental spirituality, and Oriental spiritual practice. So a group of devotees from Buenos Aires, which is the capital of Argentina, they came to Belo, met Swami Shivananda Maharaj, direct disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, and requested for a Swami. And on the other side, at the same time, there was another group which went from South Africa and requested a Swami also. I think Swami Nisirsanji went to South Africa, and Swami Vivekananda Maharaj, the other name is Pashupati Maharaj, he was chosen. Swami Vivekananda Maharaj was a very good friend of Swami Vireshwaranji Maharaj, the 10th president of the order. But somehow he felt, no, it is not a good place to go there. And he had this doubt. So he went to Master Mahashaya. And Master Mahashaya scolded him. What? On one side, you say you are a soldier of Swamiji and all these things, and you are refused to go there. It is shame on you. And he decided, no, let me go. This is the command of Sri Thakur. So Swami Vivekananda Maharaj accepted the command of the Swami Shivananda Maharaj. He reached in 1932 in Buenos Aires. At that time, the Argentina was in a very good condition, both in every way. The level of life, the economy, everything was good. And it is said in 1940s, Argentina was one of the top 10 economically advanced countries up to 1940s and 50s. Afterwards, of course, it's collapsed. So Swami Vivekananda Maharaj reached there in 1932 at the invitation of a small group. And in Buenos Aires, you will find the statue of Rabindranath Tagore there. Rabindranath Tagore. But he did not come to Brazil. And it took almost 25 years for Swami Vivekananda Maharaj to come to Brazil. That is how the Brazilian part of the story began. So in Argentina, we have a center there since 1932, one of the oldest center, and there are a good number of publications published by the center with the help of a publication house outside, and it has been going on. But at the same time, a small group of devotees from Rio de Janeiro, which is well known as a tourist spot in Brazil, they invited Swami Vivekananda Maharaj to come to Brazil and then do something about the Vedanta. So in 1957, Swami Vivekananda Maharaj visited Brazil, especially Rio de Janeiro, for the first time. That is how the Brazilian story began. So our center in Buenos Aires is the first center in South America. And there is a small group now here and there. Of course, in Uruguay there is a small group, at least 2 groups. And there are other places where small groups exist. In the whole of Latin America, only Brazil speaks Portuguese, rest of the countries speak Spanish. So the group from Rio de Janeiro who invited him, they received him, they was very well. And he was very happy to be with the Brazilians, because Brazilians are by nature a little bit friendly, affectionate, kind, they can share, and they are not very reserved or very cold. No, they are very warm people, very friendly fellows. In 5 minutes you can become friends. No time you can become friend. They may be poor, but then they are very rich in heart. Especially with the Indians, they can become very easily friends, because they strike a chord between their heart and the Indian heart. Anyway, this Brazilian group in Rio de Janeiro received him in 1957 for the first time. And it went on for the next year. The Swami came and stayed for a month, and the few people who were with him at the time were strong followers of the Eastern thought. Especially Swami was very much emotional, his background is from Bengal, or at that time I think it's from Bangladesh, you can say. So naturally he was very emotional, and the whole of South American people in general are very emotional, and naturally devotional also. So Swami began to stay there for a month and giving talks, etc. So 2 years later, in 1959, a group, is small, in fact, one person I must say, rather than a group, who went from Sao Paulo to Rio de Janeiro and invited the Swami to come to Sao Paulo. Sao Paulo and Rio de Janeiro is about 450 kilometers. Sao Paulo is the capital, financial capital of Latin America, you can say. Just like Bombay, you have the stock exchange, etc. Sao Paulo has it's a huge city, almost 20 million people. So they invited him, please Swami, you are coming to Rio de Janeiro. We are also interested to have you. Please come, share with us. Your 1 month time, please share with us. That is how the Sao Paulo group came up, and Swami visited. Swami shared his 1 month stay between the two cities. And slowly, people came around, and he started initiating, and the story began in Brazil in a very fantastic way. The Rio de Janeiro group grew and grew, and finally they bought a land, they built a monastery, and in one of the most beautiful places near Rio de Janeiro, almost 45 minutes from the city. Of course, today it is not there. I will come to the story a little later on. At the same time, from Sao Paulo, the man who invited Swami is a Portuguese man. He was a Portuguese man. And he had a small house, just like duplex, you may say, maybe 180 square meter, that means 1,800 square feet house. He used to stay with his mother. It was he who invited Swami. The very first day he went to invite the Swami, and the Swami called him and he initiated him. Very surprisingly, the very first day. He was initiated, and the Swami accepted the invitation to visit Sao Paulo, and that is how the Sao Paulo group started. And the group was going on. I happened to look at the old stuff that is in the house, and I found a wonderful diary written by the group of about 6 or 7 people, almost every minute of the meeting that they had, the disciples of Swami Vivekananda Maharaj, like that. So these are the people who became the center of the future Vedanta work in Brazil, Vivekananda Maharaj disciple. And so meticulously it is written there, who was present and what was happened, everything as fresh as anything. I am yet to gather one more book. This book deals with the 4 years of the history of the meetings of Swami Vivekananda Maharaj, disciples of Swami Vivekananda Maharaj, about Vedanta. It is not just they talked only about Vedanta. They talked something about the Christ teachings and a little bit of Vedanta, and finally used to have Arati, all in his own house. When the Swami visited, he used to move to a small room. There were three rooms. In one room his mother was to stay, and one room he used to stay, and another small room was vacant. So when he moved to the vacant room and gave this Swami, and Swami used to initiate, everything used to be in that small house. That is how it started. So talking about Brazil, I must say, Brazil is a vast country, almost 2.5 times bigger than India. And the population is about 210 million. Now it's 6 times higher here, even though the vastness of the country is 1/3, you must say. And a chunk of land is covered by the Amazon region, Amazon rivers, huge rivers and forests, etc. And the number of species in Amazon far exceeds the total number of species outside the Amazon, almost all over put together. That's how they say. And people in general are very friendly. Music runs in their veins. Nature lovers, beautiful beaches, wonderful country with huge natural resources like minerals and metals and gold and everything. It used to be. In fact, that was a spot where every other country like Spain or other European countries, they went there, they plundered everything and then got back as it is. So, these small groups, few people, they received the Swami, they took care of him, and sometimes they had a tough time with him also, of course. At one time, Swami himself left the house in a huff between this group of devotees, and of course, 2-3 days later on, he came back. So the story goes to say that they became the nucleus of the future Vedanta group. This is on one side. On the other side, I began to dig out the roots of Vedanta there. And I found surprising things. In 1909, there was a group, a Sotri group, it is called the Thought, the open summit, the Thought. They formed a church. They are all Christians. They formed a group and they made a church of Oriental thought, and one of the patrons was Swami Vivekananda. Swami Vivekananda never went there, and none of the Swamis went there. It was in 1909, almost the same time when Ramakrishna mission was registered officially. And they celebrated 100 years of its existence, and I was invited. I went there to see, and in the mural, there are 4 patrons, one Portuguese man, not the man who invited, the other one, another one, and 2 of his friends, and the 4th one was Swami Vivekananda. So in the mural, you can see Swami Vivekananda, and they show 5 minutes about Swami Vivekananda, all those things. That institution still exists, and it is a historical building, and United Nations, they have their historical places to be preserved, some such things. And I found in 1925, the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna by Swami Vedanta was translated and published. I got 2 books from the old bookstore, and I have them. Then I found there was a great interest at the time, but somehow or other it died. So in 1957, when Swami Vivekananda Maharaj visited, it reawakened the whole situation, and he was welcomed by the devotees, and that is how the group began in São Paulo. So during the Vivekananda Maharaj time, there are 2 groups. One is in São Paulo, and another was in Rio de Janeiro. The distance between the 2 cities are very not far, so one can take a flight in 15 minutes or 20 minutes, you can be there. So often you have the flights now. And as I said, the country by itself is very wonderful, natural, beautiful. The Rio de Janeiro is considered one of the most beautiful cities in the world. Why? you have beaches and mountains in other countries, and or you have the forests and mountains, or forests and beaches. There, the forests, the mountains, and the beaches all together and make it more beautiful, and they preserve it enormously. And it is considered one of the most important tourist place in the world. Coming back to our story, the group in Rio de Janeiro began to grow. They got a spot and they built a house, and there was monastery, there was temple, and there was places for the guests to stay. So it was going on all right. In 1973, Swami Vivekananda Maharaj passed away. After his passing away, one of his Spanish disciples, he said, I am the boss of Vedanta here. No other Swami I could accept. Because Swami Vivekananda Maharaj in 1968, he went to Belo and brought a Swami with him, Swami Paratparanji. And this brahmachari, he did not accept the authority of the Swami Paratparanji, successor of Swami Vivekananda Maharaj. He said, no, I am the boss. I cannot accept him. So there was a struggle. There was a fight between the local man and this Swami. And this Swami is so good, he said, I don't want to go into the nasty struggle and all this thing. All right, if you want to take the whole ashrama, take it. So this brahmachari cut out of all the entire ashrama in Rio de Janeiro, very beautiful spot. And it was never in the name of the ashrama, it was in his own name and two of his successors' name. We came to know much later on. And this brahmachari, I remember him, in fact, when I was in the headquarters office, we took initiative to remove his name because so many years his name was continuing even though he was not part of the order. So we had to, Swami Chaitanya, we had to remove after 12 years away from the order. I have never met him. In fact, he was very ill. And he also did not like to receive any of the Swami, except only one Swami who met him was Swami Ritajananda Maharaj. And this man became the head of Vedanta there, self-appointed head. And it was not Vedanta he preached, some kind of black magic, the superstitious things, and along with some Vedantic ideas also. Like here and there, every country has its own part of this black magic and doing harm to other people or getting favor from this, all those things. So he became, more or less, the center became not a center of the Vedanta, but of this kind of thing. But at the same time, some of the disciples of Swami Vivekananda Maharaj joined him. That was a surprising thing. Only 3 people did not accept what he did, and they went away and they formed a group. When I went there in 1999, these 3 people, they began to cry, Swami, this is what happened, the story. Now here you can see all those things, but we 3 did not accept what was going on in the name of Vedanta by this man. So please do something. So that is how I entered into the group. Now, while this was going on, the Paulo group, the man who invited the Swami in 1959, he was very sincere man. He is a Portuguese man. And he was, as I told you, he was staying with his mother, and he was very dedicated, and he formed a group. Slowly, some very sincere people came to him, got initiated, and they became the pillars of the Vedanta movement in São Paulo and rest of the country later on. That's how these 2 groups side by side. And to finish the story of the group in Rio de Janeiro, I must tell you something more. When this man became ill and he died, this Swami Chaitanya died, the property was divided in the name of the 2 of his successors. And 2 of his successors, one died very soon, and the other one also sold, and finally they sold the whole property to a multi-story builder and divided the money between the 2. So now you don't find the ashrama there, Nothing is there. A multi-story building is there. And one lady who was very close to this Brahmachari Maharaj, she also had her own share. So that is how it disappeared completely. Really, it was a very good ashrama. Excellent. Everybody says it was a wonderful spot, but it is not there anymore. What happened to these three? These three people who were almost weeping that we should do something about it, and they used to organize to meet in a devotee's house, in a devotee's apartment. So when I went there, I was staying in a one-room apartment, a small place about 4 or 5 people can sit, used to sit in the shrine, and you meet the devotees in an apartment. It used to be very hot. There's a lot of noise in the street. Somehow we went on more and more, and people came because there is a resident Swami now. Officially, there is a resident Swami from India in Brazil, staying in Paulo. So he is visiting us. So there was some curiosity, to see who this new figure is. But then they began to gather together more and more, and it was a very testing time for me. But then I took it as a challenge, I took it as a kind of play of Thakur, and I really enjoyed the challenge, I must say. So everyone was a VIP for me at the time, even now. Anybody who comes to the ashrama, a VIP. You don't ask for who you were or who you would be. Just accept as you are. That's enough for me. I don't want to fill up my head with all those ideas and thoughts that they want to put. So it began to grow, and in 2 years' time, we found the space was very small. So finally, we sold that one-room apartment given by a lady devotee, a disciple of Vivekananda Maharaj, and put a little more money from São Paulo, and we bought a building. That building was built in 1865, Sri Ramakrishna's time. That's where our Rio de Janeiro center is there. The wall is almost 1 meter thick, 90 centimeters. Even to make a window is so difficult. That is where our center is, Rio de Janeiro is now. This group grew, and they have a very fine music group. They can sing songs for 2 hours in Portuguese about Thakur Swamiji. They download. I don't know music much, so I am looking for somebody who can. Our Swami looks like we bank upon him, who is going to Brazil to teach some music. So these people have so much interest in Thakur Swamiji and Vedanta that they form a group and they download the music, translate it, and give tune to it, and they sing. That is the only place where we don't put any cassette of any kind. Everything is arati, everything they sing. Very vibrant. There are people who used to walk on the sidewalk, hear the music, something very strange going on, some Sanskrit or some Bengali or something like that. What is that? So we went inside and then saw, they became devotees. There are quite a few. How did you come if you ask? I was hearing, I was just peeping inside what is going on there, I came. So this is a very vibrant group. When the Swami goes there, at least 70, 80 people, they are gathered for the meeting, at least, sometimes 100. Depending upon what subject you speak. That is the present state of the Rio de Janeiro group. I have slides. I will show you quickly slides because explaining this and then showing slides might be delayed. And I come back to the São Paulo group. São Paulo group, when the Vivekananda Maharaj died, they registered with the help of Swami Nirmalatmananda Maharaj in 1974. Officially, it was registered as the Ramakrishna Vedanta Ashrama. And it began together. The new Swami was very silent. He was a man of few words, Swami Nirmalatmanandaji. But there was something in him that attracted quite a lot of people. Sometimes you will see the photographs of with 70, 80 people together in the sub-centers. So that house was there up to 1980. In 1980, they purchased the side by side, the second house, almost duplex, equally, and they put together. That was the house when I went there in 1999. This house, which put together, it can accommodate a small shrine, and some people can stay. There are enough rooms, sufficient, and the group began to increase more and more. After 4 years, in 2004, we found there was no space, so we searched and we bought a house, a big house, almost 7,000, 8,000 square feet house. That is how the transformation took place from a small group to a big ashrama. They themselves were surprised. By Thakur's grace, it is he who does everything in Arabia. All that you have to do is to put the chemicals together, as Swami Vivekananda used to say. You don't have to do so many things. Oh, I am the doer now. All you have to do is intelligently put the things together and see the result for yourself. He does miracles, I must say. I am not a believer in miracles. I will tell you, come to the story again. But I will show you the São Paulo center now. How do you make it? You see, the country is so big. Yeah, our center in São Paulo, Rio de Janeiro, Belo Horizonte. I'll come to that one after another. And it's a wonderful place to visit, stay, and mostly tourism also. Perhaps some people may not feel quite good to stay for a long time because it has a different atmosphere, completely different. The language is new. For example, the Swami who goes there, he has to confront a new language, a new place, new culture, new habits of clothing, habits of food, habits of everything is different. It is 100% Christian country. Perhaps Brazil is the most populous Christian country in the world. The first most populous Christian country. 100% Christian. You can imagine, in Argentina, if somebody wants to stand in the election for the president, he has to be a Catholic, nothing else, nobody else. Look at the Constitution, by Constitution. So there are so much Orthodox Christianity. And there, these kind of things are happening. And that is the beauty of the Vedanta Ramakrishna Vivekananda message. So, this is the house we bought after 5 years. It's a big house, about 200 people can sit. When the Swami has the celebration of time, about 100, 120, 130, there are not a single Indian devotee there in our congregation. All are Brazilians. And who are these Brazilians? It is interesting to see. Who are the devotees, for example? Devotees are descendants of German, Portuguese, Spanish, Japanese, Italians, and Syrian Christians, and Chinese. They are the devotees. It's a multicultural, multiracial devotees. I once sat down, and then I found about 13 different races of devotees of Sri Ramakrishna. Can you imagine? So this was the house we bought in 2005, and now all the activities are done here. There is the shrine. This is a library there. This is the old house. When I went there for the first time, I entered the house, but not as you see it. It is all reformed. It was something very different. I did not want to show it because it will really discourage the Swami who goes there. So I have put all the best things available. So we were informed and all these things. The yellow portion is our house, the old house, where we stay. But we stayed, all the meetings, all the things happened here in this house for the first 5 years, 1999 to 2004. So it is one of the celebrations, the offerings. And at the beginning itself, I made it very clear to them. You see, Ashrama Pai is for you, the devotees. We cannot have any paid work because the finance was very poor at that time. When he went there, the total finance was $8,000. That's all. And then one of the devotees from USA, he said, how can the headquarters can affiliate a center with such a poor finance? And you are going to a God-forsaken place. That was a comment from some of the strong devotees from USA. I said, no, it is Thakur's wish. It has come out of the mouth of a pure soul that I am ordered to go. I will go there and take it as it is. Let us see how he plays. So, all the activities are done in this place now. They are offering flowers in the altar. This is the Christmas celebration. So the devotees come, they clean, they take care of everything. That's how the training was given. And don't expect any paid work except only one person comes twice a week and make our hot cleaning, they say. And that person you have to pay at least $30 to $40 per day. That means in terms of over 2,500 rupees you have to pay just for 6 hours work. And you have to give lunch, you have to give breakfast, you have to give the fare to bus fare to come and go, all those things. It's too costly for us. So normally the foreign countries, they learn, they do everything themselves as far as possible. Where it's almost impossible or you need a person, you appoint, otherwise no. Because it is, and the dignity of labor is so important there. When you do, they also come join you. But if you just say, you do it, not like here, of course. You have plenty of devotees here. So one goes and another comes. But it's not like that. Maybe it's for a Catholic country, but not for us. So we have a retreat center. When we went there, the retreat center was already existing, donated by a man. This center has about 3 acres of land, a house for women devotees, about 9 or 10 devotees can stay. They have a house for men devotees, about 4 or 5 can stay, and 3 rooms for the monks. So it's a very good place, very wonderful place. I can show, it's about 50 kilometers from where we are. So 1 hour, 1.5 hours, 1 hour, 15 minutes is the main house, the retreat house. And above is the shrine, and this is the shrine we made in 2004. It was very different when I went there. In the retreat house, this is a shrine. This is the monk's quarters. This is the house for women, more clean, more nice, all the time, otherwise they don't enter, you see. And this is the retreat property. This is the retreat, one of the retreats we have. I'm not weeping. You can see how the devotees are all in smiles. The retreat participants. The General Secretary Maharaj, Swami Vivekananda, when he visited, we were there around together. So we have activities. What are the activities that we have in Sao Paulo? That's what I wanted to just tell you. We are publishing books because there were no, in fact there are not many books in Portuguese. There were some translation in 1960s, but they were so poorly translated, it worked against our own ideas. Because it's so badly presented, it did not go very well. Everything was closed. Now we are making it slowly and steadily, one by one. We have about 6 or 7 books published already. And we have a journal started in 2013, the 150th birth anniversary of Swami Vivekananda is part of it. And it has about 400 subscribers. And for example, what religion is in the words of Swami Vivekananda. Now it runs into 3rd edition. So the people like the idea of Vedanta and Ramakrishna Vivekananda. Because they have got bored with the church teaching saying that you are a sinner, you have to pay 10% of your income, otherwise you will go to hell. Like that, very plainly said. But even then, thousands and thousands they go. Churches are not like in Europe or USA. It's full there in South America or in Latin America. They have so much of faith and devotion to Christ, to their religion. Whatever it may be superficial or it may be very profound, doesn't matter. But number is not, the churches are not vacant as you see or as you hear in Europe or USA. It's full. So, this is how they assemble in some of the celebration or events. I think this was an event of book release function perhaps. He was the ambassador at the time, so I invited him perhaps releasing of the book. This is the journal we published, and he was a presidential candidate. He is a doctor, he is a presidential candidate who stays very near us, and he was a great student of Vivekananda. And we invited him to issue the first issue of the journal in 2013. $400 subscribers is a big number for us. Retyping please, so this is the audience. From Vivekananda's anniversary celebration at the time. We also have some activity for the poor and needy. You see, not all of them like lectures. Then always you find some people like lectures, some people like classes, some people want to do something. So a group of devotees, especially women devotees, Swami, we will do something for the poor and needy. Let us do something. Okay, what do you want to do? It was in 2003, when 150th birth anniversary of Holy. So these devotee groups, they came up. I said, all right, go ahead. What do you want to do? Oh, we'll just collect materials, food articles, and we will distribute to the poor and needy. That's fine, go. So we started with 2 baskets, then it grew 5, 10. Now 20 families receive every month about at least 20 to 30 kilos each, the food articles, all by the devotees. They collect from the devotees and distribute. And during Christmas, which is an important occasion for them, we give about 80 to 90 families food articles about 30 to 40 kilos, plus Christmas gift, plus school materials for the children, everything. So it's a big function. You see the packets of distribution. So these are the poor people. These are the what we call favela, or from the children from the slum areas. It's a little distant. They come, we give food for them on that day, and they receive all the materials, school materials, as part of the Christmas celebration. So distributing the packets. These are the group of devotees who does the activity from 1913 onwards. 2013 onwards. They continue. But if you don't accept the proposal, then you pour cold water and they don't like it. So you feed what they want. You want to do activities, do it. You want to hear the lecture, okay, here is the lecture. Or classes, okay, skip to class. Music, or let him go for music. Right. A bazaar. For instance, there are many people who use things just once or twice and they give up. There, in the West, it's pretty common there. So they come and collect it and please come and give to us here. We will distribute to the poor and needy. That is how the bazaar business started, and it became so interesting, so inviting those people, and they began to appreciate it so much that we cannot now give up. We have to continue at least once in 6 months. They organize everything, put a price of 10 cents or 5 cents, no, not much, just don't give away completely because it will have no value. So the minimum, there's a lot of work behind this, but a minimum price, and they give, and they pay, and they take it, they use it. And what little we receive, we use for the same activity. See, there the devotees. Yeah, we have, as a part of the centenary celebration, 150th birthday anniversary of Swami Vivekananda, his portrait was released in one of the most public spot in São Paulo. It's a huge park, and in the park there are many other dignitaries of the world were honored, and Swami Vivekananda was one of them. Okay, so this is the old house, the big new house, plus the retreat center. This is all three put together is the São Paulo center. Now, the group of devotees are very enthusiastic to do more and more, but we cannot go ahead because of the lack of manpower, especially monastic manpower. Side by side, there was a group, small group, in the city, Curitiba, which is another state about 400 kilometers south of São Paulo. It was also started in late 80s, and a gentleman, was a disciple of Swami Vivekananda Maharaj, he started in his own house, and he wanted to become a brahmachari. He went to Argentina and stayed for 3 days as a brahmachari, and then came back. I asked him, why did you come back so soon? And because there was no earlier flight, otherwise I would have come earlier. So he was a very witty man. He always used to say, because there was no flight, I had to stay there 72 hours, otherwise I would have come earlier. So he's a German descendant. Till today, he does only two things, his apartment and nothing else. Nothing else. He's completely dedicated. It is he who started in his own house, and he went there. We used to gather there in his apartment, and slowly it began to grow, and later on we purchased property and established the present house. This is one of the well-known place, was the Guaçu Falls, much bigger than the Niagara Falls in fact. When Swami Nirmalatmanandaji visited there, he had already seen Niagara Falls. He said, Niagara is a baby compared to this. That's what he said. And though Americans know how to sell things, much more than anybody in the world. And this is the house. After visiting this place, I began to believe if Thakur wants, he can do miracles. Why? I was not a believer in miracles, as I said. But after what happened in this city, I must say I believe. I believe in miracles. He can do anything he wants. For 1 year, I had been visiting at least 4 times. I could not get more than 2 people. 2 you take breakfast in one person, in one house of the one person, and lunch in another person, and then you invite them, nobody is coming, 3, 4 people, And somehow we were trying and trying. And one person told me, Swami, there is a man who is very devoted to Vedanta, Vivekananda, but he doesn't have any connection with the group, with these small 3-4 people. Why? Because he had difficulty of understanding with the rest of the group, so he split and went away. He is not bothered anymore about Ramakrishna Vivekananda. If you get in touch with him, somehow or other, perhaps it may work. And I got the point of it. This was the 4th visit, and I tried to contact him, and finally I got him on the phone. I said, I am the Swami. And he was very happy. Oh, I have heard that one Swami, resident Swami has come. Please come to my house. We will have tea. Yeah, I went there. He said, Swami, I have great devotion for Thakur Swami. He had a shrine. Swami Nityananda Maharaj used to visit his house, initiate people in his house. All this happened, but somehow some misunderstanding happened in the group. It's all split and everybody gone. So he said, I have something reserved for the Vedanta work in this city, but I don't go into the members of the other group. If you want to do something, it is ready for you. That was the first sign. I said, we got the clue. And another devotee, he came and he said, Swami, you are visiting here for the last 4 or 5 times. If you want to give lectures, maybe you can do it in my house, which is in such neighborhood, but you pay for the electricity, you pay for the water, all the expenses you take care of. I said, yeah, I'm going to get it anyway. At least he offered the space. Then at one point I asked him, would you like to sell this house? Because you are not living there, you are living in another apartment. Of course, I can sell this house provided if I get a good price. I said, what is the price? When he said the price, I somehow clicked. This man who said I have some reserved fund for the future work of Vedanta in the city, almost I touched the 50% of the price of the house. I said, it is a good sign. Maybe another 50%, or maybe 51%, another 49%. Let us go ahead. So we got, in 1 week's time, we talked, resolved the issue, wanted to buy the house, contract was made, and the advance was made, and surprisingly, one evening I was sitting there, and Mota Brahman Bolena, that means a man, 80 man, very serious, but very nice, very grave, but serious and nice. But he came saluting. Swami, I heard that Resident Swami has come. I have come here to salute you. Okay. I am a great devotee of Holy Mother Sadhana. He said, very good. Exactly, Mother sent you for something. Come, sit. Let us see. What do you do? Oh, I am the professor of law in the Catholic University. That is exactly I am waiting for, because we need to have a constitution made to make a center here. The house was manpower, you can say. Because the devotees say, who is going to guide us? Somebody has to orient us. Somebody has to take the lead. Somebody has to organize. We are not able to do that. We are occupied with our daily activities. So, this is the building, 3-story building. It was inaugurated by Swami Prabhanandaji Maharaj in 2010. This is a function, this is not a group. The functions are so many people, otherwise it's not so much. Okay. Now coming back to this center was lying 7 years without any use for the lack of one elevator. Because the group did not have enough resource. They were exhausted. In fact, the building was also, after 50% of construction, they said, we don't have any more resources. Somehow, by Thakur's grace, we could finish. And then, recently, through the help of our friends, we could install an elevator, and it's ready for starting any work. If somebody can take interest, naturally, you will have plenty of scope to do more Vedantic work there. So there is another small group coming up in Brasilia, which is the capital of the country. It is these three places, Belo Horizonte, Rio de Janeiro, and Curitiba, they are official sub-centers since 2006. Now, upwards, this small group is the capital of the country, and a small shrine there. So sometimes we go once in 3-4 months. That group is very strong, but they need support, especially monastic manpower support. You go and visit there, give lectures, make courses, and communicate in Portuguese. One important thing is they don't know English. Maybe one or two, all of them in Portuguese, everything in Portuguese. The man who goes there must communicate in Portuguese, or the person, whoever is there. Then it's much easy. Immediately, the moment you say, "Bom dia," good morning, then it becomes so wonderful. Oh, here is a man who speaks to us in Portuguese. Only 2 words you spoke. They're so happy. So they look for this kind of support. This is another Swami, Portuguese Swami. He's a very intelligent Swami, Swami Jitananda. He is from about 2 hours from São Paulo, he is in family, and he is an electronic engineer, and he studied one of the best schools in Brazil, very intelligent. It is he who manages so many things of the ashrama. Now, I'm coming to the final part of it. It does not take much time. This is not our Ramakrishna mission. It is one of the wonderful stories. In 1950s, when there was no Swami, when there was no Ramakrishna Mission Center, one poor man, he had a vision of some saint-like person one day, who said to him, the story is long, I don't want to go into details. He said to him, "Please do something for the street children." He was sitting in a pool, near the pool, and so strange, this figure, I have never, it is not a Brazilian, and this figure tells me to do this. So he had some doubt. So he went to his master, which is a spiritual movement there, spiritist they call it, very big movement there. So he went to his friend and asked him, "I had this kind of dream or vision, I don't know. This figure says you do something for the poor people." Then this man said, the head of the institution, he said, "You follow what he says." So he collected 2-3 street children and started giving some classes in his own house. That house is still there. Again the figure appeared. He said, "No, not here. Go to the interior and then do." Same consultation again. So follow what he says. He went inside about 100 kilometers, about 110 kilometers away from the city. It's called the Betim. Now he went to that place from the Belo Horizonte. His house was Belo Horizonte, and he went to this place called Betim. And he bought a land at a throwaway price, you can say, price of the banana, they used to say. So he bought a land and he established. The number grew 50, 60, 70, 80 children. Almost, it was wonderful. But a time came, he was put in a great test. There was no water there. Water is not available. All exhausted. So he was about to close the institution. He called engineers, he advertised, nothing happened. Now everybody said, "You close the institution." Again the figure appeared and said, "No, you go in such and such corner of this plot of land, you dig deep, you will encounter a big boulder, and don't give up, go further, and you will find the water resource." And till today, that is the water resource of this institution, which now serves about 400 children, and it's a huge institution now, which started very small, huge institution. It has the credibility in the society, the central government, state government, everybody wants to help this institution. And that story, and who was the person who appeared? Swami Brahmananda Maharaj. not Swami Vivekananda, not Swami Brahmananda Maharaj. They used to sing songs about Swami Brahmananda Maharaj, and they have a nice shrine there. It is not a religious institution. It is an educational health care institution, which serves about 400 villages now. They are very friendly to us, but no children stay there because of problems of the legal and other things. No children stay there, but all come about 400. Every day they feed about 400 children, and they have a magazine called The Power, where they carry out Ramakrishna Vivekananda teachings, at least one page every issue. That is the complex. This is the man who started, Arlindo. Later on he assumed his name Lindananda. Linda means beautiful. Lindananda. He himself assumed. The only Swami who met him was Swami Nityananda Maharaj. And Nityananda Maharaj looked like his brother at this age when he became later on elderly, almost like brothers. There is a magazine which shows Swami Brahmananda Maharaj. This is the institution now. They write Krishna in Portuguese. Misam Ramakrishna. Misam means Ramakrishna mission. The other way, instead of Ramakrishna mission, Misam Ramakrishna. Everything like that. The women have their handicraft activities. They have a library. One interesting incident is about Holy Mother. There was a small hall where the children used to sleep. It is in 60s and 70s. Sometimes the children had a lot of psychological problems. They used to cry at midnight. And there is a small photograph of Holy Mother. Even today it is there. And above that photograph of Holy Mother, a small little lamp, the blue lamp, very dim lamp. So whenever the children used to get up and cry, the man who was monitoring this used to say, no, Holy Mother is here. She is looking after you. And immediately the children used to be calm and sleep. Until they maintain that hall is now a library, the Holy Mother's grace. It's all happened, it's all true, because those who were witnessed the incident, they tell me they are there, they are devotees. And all these things happen because the fruits show the tree, what it was. So they really had the vision, and he believed in it, and he did it, and this is the fruit of the institution. We have a good relationship with them. They have also a company called Ramakrishna Macaroni. That macaroni means Ramakrishna Macaroni is very famous, but now it doesn't work. They have given up to some other company, and the factory is no more. Yeah, the wire fencing also they do, another factory, it is still continuing, huge, and whatever resources they get, they run the institution. On the way to this city, you will find Kela Ramakrishna on the main road. Kela Ramakrishna means Ramakrishna wire fence. Makaham Ramakrishna, Macaroni Ramakrishna. Macaroni Ramakrishna is no more existing, but one can see that. So that is the story. But this institution has enormous credibility. 60 years of dedication has brought about. This is how the work is going on there. And there is plenty of other places where they invite me to go there. Sometimes very recently someone wanted to give you a house and start their work, but he said no, I cannot accept because of lack of manpower. So they are poor. It's a wonderful story to know, to learn, and to be an instrument in spreading the message of Ramakrishna Vivekananda Vedanta in that part of the country. So you know now something about what goes on there. Thank you very much for your patience, and I'm glad that I could share something about this wonderful thing that goes on in that part of the country.